I'm not sure it is post-COVID yet, and I think that's one of the problems, because looking forward, none of us are quite sure whether we're heading for, a second wave and another lockdown. And then also we've got what happens in Brexit. So we're in that slightly strange period where predicting next year is probably a lot more difficult than it normally is. And therefore, we seem to have a dynamic tension where understandably sellers want to sell on the pre-COVID basis, and a lot of them have shrunk. And the question is, will they come back, and how quick? So there's a quite interesting dynamic between sellers and buyers at the minute. Well, the most common valuation is a kind of an adjusted EBITDA times a multiple. I'm not sure the multiples are necessarily changing a great lot. The debate is, so what EBITDA are we going to use then? We're back to, I know what you used to make before COVID, what do you make now, and when you're going to get back to that point? So there's more of a debate on that bit, I think, than the multiple itself. I'm not sure it's changed. I think I've lost track of how many recessions I've been through now, because I was the boss for 29 years, right? But what it's reminded everybody of, again, is the people who've done better than others, shall we say, in COVID, are the ones who've got more recurring subscription type revenues, right? And it's not just down to the recurring revenue versus the one-off project type revenue. It's really the gross profit on it, right? Because what I'm seeing often is some people might have 50-50 sales where 50% projects, 50% recurring. But they'll almost do the projects and selling servers and things for tiny margins just to keep other suppliers out. So when you go and look at it at a gross margin level, you might see that what looks like 50-50 split can be as much as 80 or 90% recurring and a small amount one-off. So the people who struggle are the ones who do big projects, because temporarily all projects have either gone on hold or you just can't get on site to install them. Certainly the ones who concentrate on recurring revenue, I think the days of buying calls and lines businesses is a bit tough now, because BT will turn off the network in 2025. So it's more about helping people transition to the cloud, because I think this world of hybrid working, where partly in the office, partly at home, it is the way forward. And I strongly suspect that some of us spent a lot on IT before COVID, and therefore we're quite ready to step back to remote working. Others have kind of knife and forked it a bit and need to do it properly. So there's going to be a lot of people, I think, who'll upgrade their mobile capability. It depends if you've done it before. There's always an imbalance of knowledge when you're buying and selling. All right, you very often find a buyer that's done it multiple times. I mean, I've done 27 deals with AdEPT. I did 14 before. I've done 41 of these things. Right, it's quite hard to build a business in your life, sell it, then build another one, then sell it, then build it. So there's often the seller might have done it for, this is their first time, or it might be the second. It's never the 12th or 13th. Right, so because of that, you need to equalise the knowledge, right? So if it's the first or second time you've done something as a seller, you do need an advisor. 12 to 18 months before you sell. I think most people make the mistake of thinking, I'm ready to sell. And then you go and talk to someone like me and say, are you in a position to answer any of the obvious questions from me? Like, do you have basic management accounts that I can look at? If the answer's no, because you don't feel the need for you as the owner to have that level of information, it's not about what you're used to, it's about what I need. Right? So in general, most small businesses don't have the level of financial information that would get through something like me. So you need to have a spell where somebody can show you, what are the most likely questions, how do you restructure your finances to be able to do that. So there is quite a bit of work to get ready. It's a bit like selling your house without decorating it first. It's a bit dangerous. You can imagine sort of when you've done as many deals as I have, I get loads of things from all sorts of advisors. The ones that drive me mad are the generalists. They sell things from every industry, and therefore their understanding of what's needed and valuations don't work. It's a bit like asking a London estate agent to value a house here in Chichester. they're probably going to put a price on it that's miles too high. And there's nothing more frustrating from a seller when somebody walks in and says, yeah, but I've been told I'll get X. And you say, but nobody else in the industry gets X. Because you've then got to unwind expectations. Whereas if you're dealing with somebody who buys and sells in the industry every day, they know what the price of these things are. So you've got to get the expectation setting right. And that can only be done with somebody who's really steeped in a sector. I think the first bit is you've got to get yourself ready. So you've got to have a decent information memorandum. I mean, people send me a one-page teaser and say, are you interested? My standard answer is, just send me the proper details. You know, then I can have and then I'll tell you, right? And if you can't turn up with a 20 to 40 page of sensible analysis of your business, you're almost telling me already that you're not ready. But you're also telling me that you've not gone through the thought process of being ready. Because often people, I think, are you selling or are you just valuing your house? Which one of these are you doing? I don't want people who are just kicking the tyres and valuing houses. I want a proper seller. I think we first met in 2003. We did a few deals pre the financial crisis. Then we had a pause while we paid some debt down, then we started again. So I think I've lost track now. We must have done about a dozen deals together. And that's because you put the time and effort into understanding the sector, getting the buyers to understand who the likely buyers are and what the prices are, and therefore I don't tend to waste time talking to idiots. You know, I'm talking to real people who are selling for valid reasons. You know, one of the first questions I always ask people is, what are you going to do next? And if you haven't thought that through, you're not ready to sell. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't keep dealing with you guys if you weren't good at what you do.